And we are pleased to be joined by the starting five for the national champion Augustana Vikings from 2015-2016. We have Jordan Spencer, we have Adam Beyer, we have Alex Richter, we have Casey Schilling, and we have Dan Jansen. First of all, thank you to all of you for actually taking the time to coordinate all your schedules. Jordan's still overseas, so this was particularly tough to coordinate. So thanks to all of you for doing this. And we're doing this as part of our promotion of our re-airing of your guys' national championship game. So let's start the previous year, 14-15. You guys lose in the second round to Northwest Missouri State at the Sanford Pentagon, and you had a great season. How much did that loss sting, and how much did that loss motivate you in the offseason? I'll start with Dan.
I think we had such a good season. We had such high expectations going into that regional tournament, and to get home court, which I think was the first time Augie had done that. We were looking forward to getting to the Elite Eight, and so having it cut short, I think you said it right. It was just really painful. And then the reality of next year was senior year, and that was it. I think it was just the focus throughout the summer of, what can I do to be better? What can our team do to be better? And I think, like you said, it was just really painful. I think it helped push us, honestly, to the next year thinking, hey, this is it for the seniors, and let's make sure we leave our mark and not fall short like last year.
So you and Casey and Al were going to be seniors that next season. For Adam and Jordan, you guys were going to be juniors. It was kind of, for both of you, your first taste of kind of postseason, like true postseason success at that point. So did you guys also feel kind of an obligation not only to get back for yourselves, but also for your senior teammates? I'll start with Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, the seniors did a good job of kind of getting us back on track with how important everything was. And we had a little talk and stuff. And I think it kind of settled in when we realized this team isn't going to be together the following season, that we should really take care of business this year. So we never thought we was going to lose to Northwest. Every time we played them, we was always up, and then they would just come back somehow. And we never understood really why. And it definitely helped in the off-season workouts and stuff like that. We took things a little bit more serious from the younger guys.
Adam, did you feel the same way?
I felt like it was definitely – it was, because I felt like we were kind of cheated too. Yes, it was our first taste of the playoffs and everything like that. But, I mean, you look at it was going to be MSU in the regional final. If we would have gotten past that, who we had already beaten multiple times that year, we would have had no problem with them. And then they won games in the Elite Eight too. So it was almost a kick to the gut there, knowing that we could have went pretty far again that year too. So, and then that also just made me and I feel like the team confident that going back the next year that we could do it, and we just had to stay focused again the whole time.
So when camp convenes for the start of the 15-16 season, I'll direct this question to Casey. What was kind of the motto or the emphasis right when you started camp? Did it feel like the motto from the beginning was unfinished business? Was it national championship or bust? What was kind of that feeling when you first started practice for that 15-16 season?
Yeah, I think I would say it was just kind of never be satisfied. So, I mean, we'd already won the conference the year before, Coke champions or whatever you want to say. And then, it's just one of those tough things that we were so close and we were right there. And, it's not just good enough to win the conference. It very much was national championship or bust. And, we knew for, us three and Tanner, we knew this was our last year. So it was kind of just, we don't want to just win conference and, get bounced before the Elite Eight. We got to make it to Frisco. And that Frisco was kind of the first thing on our mind. And then it was national championship or bust after that.
Alex, I'll direct this question to you. What were practices like getting ready for that season? Because I imagine with both the chip on your collective shoulders and with the way Coach B runs things, I'm guessing those were pretty intense practices to start.
Yeah, I mean, especially right out of the gate, I think everybody has that mindset of, hey, we're all back together here. I think we realize this isn't going to be forever like this. Let's take advantage of that. And at the end of the day, you had a bunch of guys that had been around the block. We didn't have a bunch of freshmen that were necessarily playing right at that point where we could jump in and kind of get into more productive practices right out of the start of the season, and a bunch of competitive guys at the end of the day. So I think we always did a good job of getting in there and getting done what we needed to. But yeah, ultra competitive, I would say.
Let's talk about the exhibition at Iowa. What? Because you guys were actually up big in that game before Dan hits the buzzer beater. Did that game, even though it was just an exhibition, that it didn't count, what did that game tell you guys either about your team or about what you could do? And I'll start with the guy who hit the shot, and Dan.
I think for me personally, it was a big game just from a standpoint of a couple of guys on the team I played AAU with. And I wanted to, prove that, hey, just because we're D2 doesn't really mean anything. We're a really, really good team. We got guys who could play D1 all over. And so that was my personal standpoint. I remember showing up for walkthrough the day before, and they had the wrong Augustana logo on our locker room door. And I think right from that moment, it was like, okay, these guys do not respect us at all. And I think it's bittersweet in a way where, like, I hit the game winner and it's one of the greatest moments of my life. But there's also a part of me that wishes we could have won by 15 like we were, and just show people, hey, this wasn't like a fluke. I hit a game winner and we won luckily. Like, no, like we were kind of putting it on them for a while. And so I think we left that game in that locker room just saying, hey, we can play with anybody, and let's try to not let this be the biggest moment of the season. We have something else bigger that we're looking forward to.
And then that exhibition leads into your very first game of the season against Washburn, and you guys lose that game. You lose a close game to Washburn. It ends up being one of only 2 losses the entire season, but it's the beginning of the season. So you start the year officially 0-1, and this was also against a team that you could have possibly faced in the region. So I'll go to Casey here. You have the euphoria of the Iowa win, and then does it kind of come crashing down with the Washburn loss?
Yeah, it was just kind of a goofy. We were supposed to go out there and we were supposed to play 2 games, and one of the teams backed out right before it. So then we were only playing 1, and we were out there for a few days, and I think everybody's head got a little too big for when we just beat Iowa, and we're thinking, this was a 500 team last year. We should be able to probably get this one pretty easily. And we were playing in a weird gym. It was a YMCA with no fans and a bad atmosphere, and we just came out as flat as could be, and hats off to them. They came out and beat us.
And then after that, you come home and you face Northwest Missouri. This is the team that knocked you out of the tournament the previous season. And it was, again, a situation where you guys were up by double digits in the second half, and you needed a Dan 3 at the very end to beat them. But did that regular season game against Northwest Missouri State, I'll direct this question to Adam, did that game kind of give you a preview of like, okay, we know we can get these guys again, but we also know we're probably going to face them again down the road?
Yeah, it was definitely – the whole beginning of that season was a weird thing because we go from the big Iowa stadium, all the fans, to Vegas, nobody, and then back to a packed stadium at home. So it's kind of, we were going up and down with the fans and everything like that too. But it was definitely one where we lost focus again too. And I think it was good for our mentality to finally win that game, to let it slip a little bit, but then at the end kind of make sure we stayed focused with it and still got the win against a team that we would see later on. And we knew them pretty well already, but then they hit us with a few adjustments that we were able to kind of learn from those again too and take them into the regional game next time.
And that begins a stretch where you guys are just phenomenal. You win 19 games in a row in the regular season, 17 of those 19 by more than 10 points. I'll direct this question, to Jordan. What was it like being the point guard on a team that is consistently blowing teams out? Like, did you feel like momentum was on your side for pretty much 2 months at that point?
Yeah, that was a fun little period because we would walk into games and we kind of knew like we're going to sweep it this weekend, and that always puts Coach B in a good vibe, like for practices and stuff like that. So everything goes well. But then, yeah, it kind of like got other guys some minutes as well, like Steve and Marcus and Ben and all them guys. They got some minutes that they wouldn't see. Tanner got some more minutes, so it was a good vibe. Like around the team, I think. And then, once that loss happened, got a little of a reality check. But
I think Spenny's right, too, with how if we got it done during the week, the next week's practices, we were a little bit better. So we're like, hey, let's not screw this up on the weekend. Let's just go smack teams. Let's not even give Coach B. He's going to be upset about something. There's no doubt about that. But let's try our best to make the next week a little bit easier.
Is that fair to say, Alex, that your mindset not only was to win, but to make it so decisive that Coach B couldn't find as many faults for practice the next week?
Yeah, definitely it's conscious. We're all conscious of that, I think. I mean, when you're winning games and you got win streaks going like that during the week, it's a little easier and everybody's a little happier. But, yeah, he'll find reasons to keep you level-headed and down to earth a little bit. But, I mean, it's always fun when you go out there in a weekend and you can get 2 big wins knowing that you're heading into the next week. And everybody should at least start off on Monday with a good smile and a positive attitude.
Well, Jordan alluded to it. You won 19 in a row, and then your only other loss that season comes in early February at Northern State. It's a close game. They kind of had a double-digit lead. You kind of kept them, or they kind of kept you at arm's length throughout. I guess the simple question is, it ends up just being a blip on the radar, but what happened that game? Was it taking a collective breath? Was it underestimating them? I'll start with Casey. What happened in that Northern State loss?
Yeah, it was just kind of obviously everybody was excited for the next game. We had Moorhead right after it. I think that we were maybe looking past Northern a little bit and kind of focusing on Moorhead, because we kind of knew that would be kind of for the conference championship. And so, yeah, I don't know if we really overlooked them too much or they just came out and shot well. It was just kind of a mixture of everything not going in our way. So,
but again, that's your guys' only loss for the rest of the season. And you mentioned MSU Moorhead. And you guys, that season and the previous season, you guys had some intense battles. It really developed into a nice rivalry with MSU Moorhead. You end up beating them for the NSIC Tournament Championship. What were those games like in those 2 years battling MSU Moorhead? I'll start with Dan.
I think we always knew it was going to be a good game. I guess with us being graduated now, I don't know if I consider it a rivalry. We never lost to them. So I guess we can be a little bit more candid about it. Obviously, they're a great team, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy. But I just think we had that confidence of, I guess, not losing and knowing, like, hey, if we take care of business, I think our guys are better than their guys. And I think we just kind of went down the line of, our guards are better, our forwards are better. I just think, knowing, especially our junior year or the 14-15 year, that, we beat them in the conference championship. It was a tough game. I think that led to the next year when we played at their place. And I think that Sting still provided, I think Adam and Jordan said it best, like, they got to go to the Elite Eight our junior year, and we were the better team. And I think we wanted to show that every time we played.
Yeah, you're right in the sense that you guys never lost to them during that stretch, but I just remember games being chippy and some technical fouls. Like, I'll ask this to Jordan. Did it feel chippy out there? Did it feel contentious?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I think they were like always in the darkness of us kind of thing, because they were having quite a successful season, but I think we just made more noise and like teams would like respected us a little bit more. But more time, I'd be hearing stuff from the crowd and stuff, but they had a good vibe. Like at their place, they packed out, the arena, they packed out. Like it was always a good game. So like, yeah, that's what I'll say about that.
So then you're moving on to to the regions. Top seed again. You're hosting against the Sanford Pentagon, and the region championship is the rematch with Northwest Missouri State. And I didn't realize it till I looked it up. It was exactly 1 year after you lost to them in 2015. It was just a weird way the calendar works. That was just another back and forth game, but knowing you guys were playing them for the third time in a year and that this was the most important of those 3 matchups, what was the mindset heading into that game? I'll start with Alex.
I mean, we're very familiar with that team, obviously, so we kind of knew what we had to do. Obviously, feel like we've got a team that's superior to them or that can beat them. And let's kind of go out there. This is it. This is leave it all out there. We know that the opportunity that we have here, and just going out there and take advantage of that and being confident in doing so. And it's a back and forth game. They were a great team. That atmosphere was awesome, but luckily to be on the right side of that one.
It almost felt like you guys obviously didn't know who you were going to play at the Elite Eight. But that, to me, just watching it, that felt like a national championship game in the Sweet 16. Is that fair to say, Adam?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It was kind of – we were both expected to get there. We kind of both got the job done to get there, and it was just building up to it the entire year. Both teams were very talented, and like we felt cheated the year before, and they probably felt cheated as well too. Yeah, I mean, we weren't really too familiar with who else it was, but they definitely were. We treated that, at least I treated that like a national championship game.
I think their coach actually had a quote about that after the fact. I think he said that was the national championship game, and he predicted us to go forward and win it. But, yeah.
And, of course, the irony is they actually did win it all the very next season, so he was probably right in that respect. With that game specifically, comes down to the wire. We'll go to Jordan. You're driving to the hole. You get hit hard. You land hard. What's your feeling after you get fouled, knowing that you have to go to the line?
I just thought if I make the first one, the second one will be all right. So I was just like, I knew I was going to shoot it short, but I was like, let me just get it over the rim. And I was just glad I could hit him, because I think that put us up 1 or something, and then we just got the ball back. So, yeah, I'm glad I knocked them down. That would have hurt.
Yeah, it was tight. It was tight when you shot those free throws, but you were so nervous for that first one.
Oh, yeah. Because it was supposed to be like a pick and pop play to Dan or something, and they left him. And I was like, all right, let's go for it. See what happens.
Dan didn't need the glory.
I was gonna say, how hard did you get hit? Did it hurt? Did you have to kind of
I had like an elbow sleeve on for this like injury I had, and I landed right on it. So yeah, it didn't feel great, but it was fine. Not as bad as Alex breaking his finger. Wait, did you dislocate it in practice?
Yeah.
That's another story.
Injuries are something we're going to get to, and I'm pretty sure you all know about that here in a second. But so you hit the free throws, Jordan, and then they take a timeout, go full court. You intercept the pass, and then Casey does the throw the ball up, hope time expires. I think Coach B wanted you to throw it a little higher, or maybe wait another second to toss it. What was your feeling like when you got that ball? Were you just like, I'm chucking this, I'm wasting time?
Yeah, I mean, you never want it to be where they get a quick foul and you leave a second on the clock. So I put it up, and he always tries to act like it was, the guy caught it and still could have shot it. Like the buzzer buzzed before he even touched the ball. I mean, it was over. But don't ask Coach B about it. He'll always act like they could have shot a 3 and won the game.
The embellishment kind of gets grander with time passing, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but if you wait a couple more years, I'm sure it'll be like they caught the ball, missed a 3, and I could have lost us all the game, So.
Nevertheless, time expired. You guys did win that. I know it wasn't the ultimate end-all, be-all goal, but as you alluded to, it was the first goal. The first goal was to get to the Elite Eight. And I believe you said in the huddle afterwards, I remember hearing it like, we are the best team in the nation. Now let's go prove it. Did the mindset, even though it was a hard-fought game, did the mindset immediately shift to, we got 3 more? I'll ask this to Dan.
Yeah, I think kind of how we started off with Casey kind of saying championship or bust. Like I really do think that was our mindset. I know that's kind of close-minded, or like, we could have had a good season other ways, but we all really felt like we are good enough to win a national championship. And if we kind of don't get there and take care of business, it's great to win conference. It's great to win 30-some games, but it's not why we were here. We were trying to do something bigger than that. So, I think we were just super happy to get there. First team in Augie history to do that, but it was not like, hey, we made it here, let's relax. It was like, no, we kind of got some more things to take care of.
So you get to Frisco, and then practice happens. And we'll just go here. We'll let Dan tell the story. What happened? How did you get hurt?
Well, I guess it starts after the Northwest game. My foot was bothering me then, and there was nothing specific. I practiced, played, and did everything, and it just kind of felt weird. And then we were practicing and just got a rebound and didn't land on anybody, didn't do anything crazy, just heard a pop in my foot. And I went down and we went to the training room. I just could barely walk on it and went to the ER with our trainer, Jansen, and got some x-rays and stuff like that. And they didn't show anything, but, I broke my foot. That's what happened. And I kind of knew it, kind of didn't know. I didn't really want to believe it. But, I just broke my foot. I know that next day we were supposed to play, and I tried warming up, and I was looking like a deer who got shot, and I could barely run. And, it was just a weird feeling of biggest game of our career at that point, in my opinion. And I never missed a game in my college career, and all of a sudden I couldn't play. So, it was a really interesting, weird feeling going into that Elite Eight game.
So you get hurt, but then obviously you're taken to the ER. The rest of the team has to practice. And Casey just talked about Coach B kind of embellishing a little bit. The story that I always hear from him is that after you got hurt, Dan, he started like a free throw drill or something like that, and you get guys miss like 20 in a row, 25 in a row. The number keeps growing. Is that fair to say that you guys were just kind of, shell-shocked and just missed free throws? Is that true, Casey?
Yeah, it was bad. It was probably 2 for 16 or something like that. It was miss. Somebody would actually make one, then it'd be a brick after that, and then finally, I don't know if it was Al or me, just yelled, and we were like, "Hey, we got to huddle up," and we kind of just came together and said, "Hey, one guy doesn't make up the team. He might be all right, he might not be. It's just one of those things that we got to play through, and it doesn't matter. One man goes down." And I went over to Zach and I just said, "Next man up." And then we kind of broke down. And after that, everybody kind of relaxed just a little bit because it got guys' minds off it a little bit. And I just grabbed Zach and I said, "Hey, man, you got to be ready to go because, that's probably not good, and you're going to be the guy." And Zach did great, and he stepped up and he kind of filled in that spot that we needed.
Yeah, the Zach you're talking about is Zach Huskin. He ends up starting for you, Dan. Like you said, you tried to give it a go, but you couldn't. So you missed the first game of your career. And as you said, at that point, it's the biggest game of your guys' entire career. It's the Elite Eight against Tarleton State, which is a team from Texas. I believe their campus was just a couple hours away from Frisco. So they had a lot of fans there already. And you guys are missing one of your key cogs. So heading into that game, knowing that you're facing a raucous crowd and that you're shorthanded, I guess the simple question is, how did you guys rally and make sure that you live to play another day? I'll start with Adam.
I really don't know. That game was one of the most fun games I've played. That was wild. And they were good. They were talented. They had talent around, spread out pretty well. I think it was just, for me, it was just kind of, all right, like, let's just go in there and do what we can, like kind of play as hard as we can. If the chips fall how they fall, they do, but like, let's just try and do as much as we can. So we played hard. We didn't play that well, but we played hard. And then in the end, it kind of worked out. At least I didn't play that well, but shout out to Al.
Yeah, we'll ask Alex, just because there's a point in the game. I think you're down in the second half. It's either 8 or 10. You're down a decent amount with about 12 minutes to go. Was it almost gut check time at that point, Al?
Definitely. You got 12 minutes left in your college career, and you got to do something to change it. So I think, Casey and I were talking back and forth. I remember that game being frustrating. I think we played zone for a little while, and they were hitting threes, and Coach B was saying just trust the game plan and all that, and that was very frustrating because it came out, and I think they shot very, very well from three right out of the gate. But then you get in a position with 12 minutes left, and it's kind of do or die time. And like Casey said, obviously we want to win that game, see if Dan can have an opportunity to come back. But we still got, at the end of the day, when Dan's out, we still have a very good team. And we've been playing together for a long time, and it's kind of go time. Your back's against the wall, and we were not ready to be done then. I had no intentions of ending it all right there. That would have been the worst ending I could have thought of.
Nah, I remember we was practicing, and then like you grabbed me and you go, "I'm not losing this championship. Like if someone's injured, like I'm not going out like that." And I was like, "Oh damn!" I was like, "Okay, I was ready for this one." I remember that.
And that leads to my next point, which is you guys obviously win the game. You're still unclear on if Dan's going to play the Final Four of the championship yet, but did getting that win give, not that you weren't confident before, but did it almost give you a renewed sense of confidence, like, hey, we can band together under the most difficult circumstances and still win this thing? Was that the mindset, Casey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get that first one, and then all the confidence comes right back into you. And we kind of knew going into our second game that we thought that we got a really tough draw in getting Tarleton, and we kind of knew that Western Oregon and whoever they were playing, we kind of knew that if we could get past Tarleton, we got a really, really good shot at getting to this championship game. And we come into that Western Oregon game, and same kind of thing. We just came out a little flat and started missing a bunch of shots, and just like that, Dan came in and knocked down 3 shots in a row and kind of gave us that boost, and then we just never looked back in that game.
Yeah, that was the critical moment, because, Dan, you test them out during warm-ups against Tarleton. You can't go. You test them out again against Western Oregon, and you don't start. You come off the bench for the first and only time in your career. But as Casey said, you hit your first 3 shots. It's kind of the Willis Reed moment where, he's injured back in the NBA Finals back in the 70s. He's hurt, but he hits his first 2 shots, and that propels teams. And I was down there with you guys. I just remember you letting out that giant roar and fist pump after you hit your 3rd shot. What did that mean to you personally, Dan, to come back and hit your first 3 shots in that game?
I think the feeling of the Elite 8 game against Tarleton State, it was just a lot of us on the bench, and what can I do to help right now? And just kind of felt at a loss, like this is really what's happening. And like we discussed already, the guys, played amazing, bounced back, did all that stuff. And, I think they had spent so much energy beating Tarleton State, and it was like, God, that was such a tough win. Now we got to play the next day. And Casey said it, we were flat, and I subbed in. I just had been itching to get out there, and just came out there, shot felt good, and knocked them in. And then, just the feeling of missing my first game in my career. I, don't always show the most emotion, but I just kind of let it go, thinking like, holy cow, we're here, we're doing it. And such a great feeling to kind of get that off my back.
And from there, as Casey and you alluded to, you start that game against Western Oregon pretty flat, but then you hit your 3 shots, and then you're up by like 25 at one point. You end up blowing them out. You know you've won that game. You know you're going to be playing for a national championship. You've had 2 distinctly different games. One game without Dan, which is, a tough back-and-forth affair. Another game with Dan against Western, where you start off slow and then you win big. You had the day off. You had that Friday to kind of collect yourselves. What was Friday? I don't know if you guys practiced or whatnot, but what was Friday like the day before the national championship? What was kind of the mindset? What was kind of the message from Coach B heading into the national championship? I'll start with Al.
I mean, that's what you work for all year, right? You do everything from the first practice to try to get to that game and take advantage of that opportunity. So for me personally, it was probably find a time to take a nap and rest up and drink a bunch of water and just be ready to go. And that's a nerve-wracking deal when it's the last game of the year. It's your last game of your career at that point, win or lose. So going out there and then just doing what we can. And we played well enough in that game to kind of control the pace there a little bit, and then obviously win the whole thing.
So it's the championship against Lincoln Memorial out of Tennessee. Based on the polls, you guys were 1-2, and it was the first time since the 70s that the top 2 teams actually end up facing each other in the national championship game. And it was pretty back and forth. I don't think either side ever really got comfortable, honestly, until you guys kind of got that rebound late and you were up by 9. What was the ebb and flow of that game like, Jordan? Just because it seemed like neither side could really pull away from the other.
Yeah, I just remember going into it, looking at the scouting report, like, how are we going to guard these guys? Like, shooting 50% from 3, the point forward, who's averaging 6 assists. I was just like, they're going to be fast. But when we started out, I think transition was working really well, and I was finding out early in transition, and our bigs were really working inside. So I think in the end, I think for the last 15 minutes of the second half, I think we were just giving it inside and letting them go 1-on-1, and they couldn't really stop him. We got their big man in trouble. And then, we got some critical stops. But, that was a fun game to be in. That was once you realize you've won it too, like a couple possessions beforehand, it was like, yeah, it's crazy.
And so there's an offensive rebound at the end, and they just don't foul. You guys are passing it around. During those last 20 seconds, is it starting to dawn on you what you're about to do or what you just accomplished? I'll start with Adam on this one.
Yeah, I think for me, it actually hit me when I hit a shot. There was I think it was like a little over a minute left as I hit a shot. And then as I was turning back, running around, I see our student section, and I see a bunch of my buddies, and they're losing their minds. And I was like, oh, man, like that for me, I guess I must have got it earlier than everybody else. But at that point, I was like, dang, we just did this. This is absolutely.
If I remember right, that was a weird, like, turnaround baseline.
Yeah, turnaround fadeaway.
The ball.
Hey,
When
man,
that dropped,
shot, right? I practiced that shot.
Yeah, when that dropped, it was kind of like, okay, we're good here. Let's just not mess this up. We're driving the bus here.
If you ask Coach B, he's practiced that shot 1,000 times.
Yeah, for real. I watch him do it.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, like, that was it for me, and it was just kind of just don't screw it up from here. We got it sealed up as long as we can get it done, and I think we got to stop on the next one, and then it was just like, all right, we got this.
It was bittersweet though, because then like that's when because when you get to the top and you've done it all, you're like, oh, now what? And it's like, oh, we've done it. Like,
yeah, the rest of them they got to go out. Then me and Spenny had to come back again.
Well, then in the spirit of that, we'll go down the line and we'll start with the seniors. We'll go Dan first. What's the feeling like as the confetti's coming down?
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember when it set in that we had won. I think my thing was it was such a great feeling of winning, but it was a feeling of, I don't want to say sadness, but like I'm never going to play with these guys again. And so it was such a great feeling that we'd accomplished our goal. We'd done something so special. But then for me, it was right after, like, I'm never going to put a jersey on with these guys ever again. And so that was a weird feeling, just, getting to see family, friends on the court and just celebrating with the guys. For me, it was, I got to do something about my foot. I got to get my foot in a boot again. And, some of those things that helped me get through the game were starting to wear off. So that pain started coming in pretty quick. But, it was such a bittersweet, like, holy cow, we actually did this. Oh, man, I'm never going to play with these guys again. And so, all kind of came crashing down at the same time. It is a storybook season in a way. Like, I know it's super cliche, but, we beat Iowa. We're, number one play on SportsCenter. Lose our first game in the regular season, and then it leads to breaking my foot right before the Elite Eight, and winning it. And couldn't have imagined the road we took, but it was an incredible journey, honestly.
What was cool to me was obviously the five of you were most instrumental in that championship. But obviously, in terms of accolades, like Dan, you won Division II Player of the Year. Casey, you were most outstanding at the region. And then Al, you got most outstanding at the Elite Eight. It seems like all of you guys played a role. You weren't just relying on one person or two people. Like the five of you, like all contributed to this championship team. I mean, did it feel that way when it was done? That like, holy cow, like we've stuck together for these past 2 years, and now we've done it. I'll start with Jordan on that one.
Once we got back to campus and we started seeing like some of the celebrations, like the school, it was a big time deal. We met like the senator and stuff like that. It was like, then it started to really sink in that like, and it was more frustrating that we didn't do it the year before, because I think I'm annoyed for the seniors, because that game against Duke that we played the following year, I thought with our five, we could have at least put up a bit of a battle. So I felt bad for them in that case. But it was celebration. It was a great time. Like, the school really did a good job of kind of celebrating us in a sense.
Last thing I'll end on, just because, you guys have had a lot of fun stories about each other, but also about Coach B, Coach Billinger. What kind of influence did he have on you that season, and what kind of influence does he continue to have on you? And I'll let the five of you all answer individually. We'll start with Adam.
Coach B he's been huge in my life. I guess, so my freshman year, I was close to transferring even. It was just a lot. Coach B attacked me a lot. Not that I didn't deserve it, but it was just a lot. And I wasn't sure. And I mean, I guess, and then I just kind of talked with people and like some of the guys, and they were like, "Hey, you'll be so thankful for everything that he does. Like, you just gotta trust it." And I mean, my goodness, I do that all the time. My senior year, I even tell it to kids now that I still see players. I'm like, "Hey, he'll be the most life-changing coach you'll have in your life. Like, he expects so much out of you, and you'll be so, I guess, proud of yourself for like actually like getting that out of yourself that you wouldn't do it yourself." So I have Coach B to thank for everything, and I guess just even in life too, with the attitude that I have going towards everything I do.
Jordan, how about your thoughts on Coach Billinger?
Yeah, he's the best coach I've ever had. He's so detailed in everything he does, and he doesn't, he's got a lot of respect for people. He treats you like a man, kind of thing, and I just think he's got great morals and values, and you can see it in his coaching too. Sometimes he gets onto us and stuff, but it's never for a bad reason. And he has the best. He's always got like his best feelings like towards you, kind of thing. He's always got your best ideas. But I think he's been a great coach to me. But first year I was a bit like Adam, my freshman year, like just dropped in this country. I'm like, what is going on? But then, once he trusts you and things like that, I never really had to think about offense or anything like that. It was just the coach that kind of let you play. So I was pretty comfortable with him in the end. He's a great guy.
Alex, your thoughts on Coach Billinger?
He's obviously a great coach, and he's a great guy, and very thankful for everything that he did for us, myself and all these guys out here. And he's intense, but he's trying to get the best out of you. So as a freshman or a sophomore or whatever that might be, it might be overwhelming. It probably was. It was for me a little bit at times, but believing in that and knowing that you both want the same goal and trusting that, and he's got your best interest in his heart. So he's doing everything he can to put you in a position to be successful, not only on the basketball court, but after the fact, whether that's turning into a successful husband or father or whatever that might be. And he would tell guys that as they're coming through the program. So I got nothing bad to say about Coach Beyer. He's a great guy. He's a phenomenal coach, and he means a lot to all of us, I think.
Dan, your thoughts?
Just kind of echoing what everyone said. I think we all have our stories and moments. You think about after that Washburn game we lost, and we were practicing before Northwest Missouri, and he literally just had us running into each other as hard as we could. And it was like, if you don't take a charge, you're not playing. And we would literally just run into each other as hard as we could. I think about other times where he spit his gum out during practice and made us run. It's just kind of memories like that, and we laugh about now, but we can do that because these all guys said it. Like, he had our best interests in mind, and he brought us in and cared about us and wanted us to see us succeed as basketball players. But then Al said it too. He wants us to be good at our job, be a great husband, be a good father, and he really instilled that by the way he coached and by the way he treated us and talked to us.
And then finally, Casey, what did Coach Billinger mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of echo because, Coach B's a great coach, but an even better man. He's kind of takes on that second father figure to a lot of guys. And, he can obviously pick at guys, and he can push you almost a little too far sometimes. But, gosh, that guy has always got your best interest in mind. He knows how to get the most out of players. He knows how to get the most out of you as a young man. I mean, you figure when we come into college at an 18-year-old boy, he has a lot of things that changes your heart and changes your mind along the way. And it doesn't matter if it's, 10 a.m. and you go into his office, that door is always open and he wants to talk to everybody. It doesn't matter what's on your mind, basketball, anything, women, politics, whatever was happening at the time. I mean, he wanted to talk. He wanted you to be a good young man. He wanted you to find he always made the joke, I'm gonna find you a wife at Augie. He's like, you'll never find a better girl than an Augie girl, you know. It's just jokes like that, but I mean, he meant it, you know. I mean, he just wanted you to succeed in being a good basketball player and growing you as a young man too.
And then I lied. Just one last thing quickly from each of you. Just let our audience know where you're currently at and what you're currently doing, either work-wise or family-wise. And we'll go in reverse order. So, Casey, where are you at, and what are you doing right now?
So I'm a farmer. I live in Ellsworth, Minnesota. It is about 45 miles straight east of Sioux Falls. Still in the Sioux Falls area a lot. I am married to my high school sweetheart, Mariah, and we just had a little boy, Tucker, about 15 months ago. So that is kind of what's going on in my life.
Very good. And Dan, what are you up to?
So I'm still in Sioux Falls, actually. I teach at Roosevelt High School. And then I am just celebrated my 2nd anniversary of being married to my wife, Chandler. She graduated medical school in May. And so next June, we are actually moving to Charleston, South Carolina for her residency program in dermatology. So we're in Sioux Falls for a little bit more, and then we're going to take off for a little bit. Lots
of things in life happening. And then you played for a little bit overseas in Belgium, right?
Yep. That's 3 years ago now. So yeah, can't believe we graduated 4 years ago. Kind of crazy to think about.
Absolutely. What are you up to, Alex?
I live in Savage, Minnesota, which is a suburb on the south side of Minneapolis. Full-time realtor, recently engaged, so getting married next June. And yeah, that's about all I got going on.
And how about you, Jordan? You're overseas right now.
Yeah. After school, I signed back with London Lions. And then I went over to Germany and played in Pro A for Schalke. And then came back to England. I currently signed a deal with the Leicester Riders, a pretty good team in the league and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just kind of maybe take a European job or like overseas, like New Zealand or something. That would be nice. But just kind of taking year by year right now and just playing for a while.
And then finally, Adam.
I am also still in Sioux Falls. I just got married on New Year's Eve to Hannah, who played on the women's team. She just got done too. But yeah, I mean, just working here in town. I'm an accountant over on the south side.
Very cool. Can't thank you guys enough for arranging your schedules to get this done. It was a fun time 4 years ago, which, as Dan said, is pretty crazy to think about. But 4 years ago, you guys were the champions of college basketball. So thank you very much to Adam Beyer, Jordan Spencer, Alex Richter, Dan Jansen, and Casey Schilling. Best of luck to all of you guys in your future endeavors, and thanks for taking a trip down memory lane. I appreciate it.
So good.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thanks.